Hello and welcome to another episode of Storytime. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Courtney and I am the host and producer of the show. Today I am pumped because we have Jon Duplantier. He is a player in the D-backs organization, one of the nicest, best guys in baseball. I am so excited to introduce him to all of you. So enjoy the episode. All right, y'all, we are back. I am so pumped because I am with one of my favorite players that was in Reno last year. Dupe, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Been running around all day. If y'all don't know, I've had to push this meeting back three times now, and she's helped me out a ton. So thank you. But yeah, no, everything's great. Settling into the off season, settling into workouts, and learning how to be sore again.
You do not need to bring up the pushing it back, though. If y'all don't know me in person, I am the most laid back human being ever. And he was like, "Oh, I'll buy your dinner." I'm like, "No, it's an honor to have you on the show. So we'll push it back as much as you need." But I'm going to start. Ready for story time. So you're from Texas. What made you fall in love with baseball?
So funny story about me and baseball. I'm the first baseball player in my family. I guess my dad owned a glove. No, the first baseball glove that my dad owned that he used and owned was when I got my first baseball glove. So they signed me up. I played t-ball, just I think out of toddler, young kid courtesy, like, hey, we need to do something during these afternoons, like let's sign up for t-ball. But then I was playing in a youth basketball league in Katy, Texas, where I grew up most of my childhood. And one of my teammates' dads approached my dad and said, "Hey, your son's a good athlete, and your son and my son get along great. Would your son like to play baseball, try out for Clay's baseball team?" And my dad was like, "I don't know, let me ask him." And at the time I'm 6 or 7. And he comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, John, you want to go try out for our baseball team?" And I was pretty much like, "It's a game." Yep. Okay. And so we had a tryout to go to, and I'm pretty sure we bought a glove on the way. I could be making that up, so don't hold me to that. But we get to the tryout, and I was terrible. Absolutely awful. All the kids showed up. They had baseball pants, and you can clearly tell that they'd been playing baseball and been instructed, and they knew each other. Mm-hmm. And I was essentially invited and thrown to the 6-year-old wolves, right?
Oh.
So my mom took me to this, and she was mortified. Just mortified. We leave the tryout again. She's actually told me this like a couple weeks ago. She's like, "We left the tryout, and I'm calling your dad." I'm like, "John, there's no way they call him back and say he made the team. Like, he's not going to make the team. He's going to be so hurt. How do we explain this to him? All the other kids are so good in this, that, and the other." I mean, like, when I say I was bad, I was really bad. I was really bad. But they ended up calling, and I guess my mom answered the phone, said, "Hey, is John there?" And mom's like, "Yeah, but hey, like, what's going on? Like, is it good or bad news? Like, I just want to know before I give him the phone." And so he said it's good news. He made the team. We know he's not the best baseball player. He's not that great, but he's extremely coachable, and he listens to everything we say, and he's super athletic. So, like, he'll learn fast. We're not worried about that. And you can just tell he has so much fun. So I made the team. I was the kid that played right field. They stuck me in right field. When you're little, right field is like the spot, and
that was my softball spot. Like, when at iHeart, we had like a just BS team, and I was always in right field because I was terrible.
Yeah, so they put me in right field, and they told me to go hit, and I didn't know which side to hit from, so they put me on the left side, and I was just having a ball, and that's when I was like 6 or 7. And so I grew up playing baseball as a means to hang out with my friends.
Mhm.
And then that's all to preface, but I fell in love with baseball when I realized like all the small intricacies, like the mental game and the fact that like there's no clock, not, you know, like the game's not over until one team gets the last out.
Oh yeah, we know that in Reno, those games.
There's no victory formation, you know, there's no just stalling and dribbling and passing it around. There's none of that. You got to get 27 outs in 9 innings, or you got to get more than 27 outs sometimes. We know that in Reno for sure. We know that at the big league level last year, 19. And I just thought it was cool, you know. So often you kind of run into this. Okay, hey, you know what? We're clearly going to lose. Let's go ahead and just call it, or let's let them run the clock out, or you never know. You never know what's going to happen. I mean,
Mhm.
shoot, you never know. I mean, you see teams all the time hit 3-4 homers in a row. Next thing you know, you're back in it, or you took the lead. You know, it's just baseball's so crazy. And also the fact that like I don't think in any baseball game I've ever played in my life, I cannot say that I've seen the same game unfold. You know, something different happens every day. Something's going to happen that you've never seen, that you haven't seen. Some combination of events, which intrigues me because it's like, I just think the coolest thing on the planet is like you hit a ball in the air, and then it's like of all the places that ball could have gone, it goes to the center fielder, right? Like on a line. Like the guy didn't move his feet, and it's like, what are the odds? You know, it's just there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm a science nerd, or I don't know if we can say nerd anymore, but I'm that guy.
Yeah, I say it all the time. It's
You know,
fine.
and I was that guy. I still am. So like just the physics of it and the odds of it, and it's just super intriguing to me, and still is.
And I think just for everybody listening right now, they can tell, like, I realized last season how like smart you are. Just because I know a lot of times people or athletes go to college and they just pass the classes just so they can focus on time, or they have somebody else help them pass. But like you, and even just explaining right now, like you really put so much thought into the game, and that's so rare. So did that kind of like go into your choice to play at Rice, or was it solely a baseball decision for that one?
The the biggest factor that went into me choosing Rice, well, the two biggest factors. One is out of all the injuries I had in high school, so I broke both collarbones separate times, but both collarbones. I broke my left wrist and I tore my right meniscus, so I had surgery. All of them were football, and at the
Oh.
time of the knee surgery, so that
Mhm.
came before the wrist. Um, I was actually considering going to play football. But I was going to consider I had an offer from Yale, so I was going to go to play football at Yale. And the orthopedic surgeon at the time, he had seen both collarbones. He saw my knee, and this was before he had to see me for the wrist. He was like, "Hey man, so is there anything else you're good at? Like, you like you play any other sports?" And I was like, I play baseball. He goes, "You any good at it?" I was like, I mean, I think so. I sling it all right. And he goes, "I would do that. I would focus on that if you can. Like, can you go play in college?" And at the time, I did have an offer to Rice, so that played a big part in it. But also, my dad had taken me on the Ivy League tour the summer before my senior year, yeah. And I was away. It was like a month. We did Harvard, Yale, Princeton, UPenn. I mean, we did a whole bunch of schools up in that area, and being away from my mom for a month ruined me. I was like, oh,
Oh.
I don't like this. I was with my dad, but I was just like, I do not like being away from my mom. And at that time, Rice was 30 minutes down the road from where I went to high school. So it was easy to make the decision hey, you know what? Let's put all the football injuries behind me, and I'm 30 minutes down the road. My parents can pretty much watch me pitch every game that I do. So it was pretty easy.
And I was going to ask, because for people that haven't watched you play, you're tall. Like, you're a big dude. Have you always been a pitcher, or did you play different positions up until college?
So the height came late. I wasn't really a pitcher. I wouldn't say I wasn't a full-time I wouldn't, well, hold on, let me word this correctly. I wasn't a pitcher. I wasn't considered a pitcher by myself or by really anybody until I was 17, till
Okay.
my junior year in high school. And that happened pretty much after, I would say, the big growth spurt. Where I was now about 6'2", real long. Before then, though, like my freshman year in high school, I was 5'7", 120 pounds soaking wet.
What?
You know, huge feet, a size 14 shoe. So like people would look at me and go, "What's wrong? Like something's off about this kid. What is it?" And they realize I have big feet and they go, "Oh, okay. So he's gonna grow. He's just little right now." And so when I was growing up, once I kind of once the coach for my first baseball team was right, and he was like, "Okay, he's gonna learn quickly." I ended up being like a center fielder, and then I worked my way into the middle infield. So in high school, early high school, I was a second baseman. I played a little short here and there, but I was mainly a second baseman. And then I grew. So then the coach was like, well, hey, you're the tallest guy on the team. Go play first base. So I played first base, but I started to pitch as well once I got taller. And my arm strength started getting strong. My arms started getting stronger as I got taller and stronger myself. So once that happened, I was pretty much a pitcher who played first base when he wasn't pitching. So yeah, no, the height, the size actually is, I mean, well, not anymore. I guess I'm getting kind of old, but it was like really fair. It was fair. It was new. It was new to everybody. I used to be, my best friend's name is John as well. And growing up, like junior high and high school, he was Big John. I was Little John. And it's funny now because, I mean, I got him by 3 inches and pre-pneumonia. So I had pneumonia.
When?
A couple weeks ago. We can get to that story too. It was wild.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, I'm 240 pounds normally, so I'm bigger than him. There, I'm heavier and I'm taller than him now. So it's like I'm Little John, still in everybody's eyes, which is just, it's funny.
I can't even picture you being 5'7". Like, that's insane to me. You're one of the very few people that I can stand next to and feel short next to. Because being 5'11", that's so rare, especially around our soccer players. Like, I could not wear heels, but that's insane. But I have to ask, though, because you know how last year, obviously there's like political rules and all that with Major League and Minor League, but I know they were teaching Tomas to play first last year. Like, they had Karakudo, I think, practicing taking ground balls at first. If they ever had like something blow up and they needed you to play first, would you feel comfortable doing it in a live game now?
If they needed me to do it?
Yeah.
If they needed me to do it, I would do it. It probably at this point, I mean, I'll take ground balls every now and then. Yeah, I'll take ground balls every now and then. I got an infield glove and I try. I practice, but it's more just for hand-eye and stuff and to keep athleticism, just have some fun. But I would do it. If the team needed me, I'm here for it. And I'll give it my best go, but just don't make fun of me. I don't want to end up being a meme because I could quickly become a meme. I know I would.
Well, if I just put that into the universe and somehow you end up at first next year, I promise I will not make fun of you or make a meme out of it. So.
If I end up at first base, something wild happened, and it's either we're up really, really big or really, really down, and well, hopefully nobody got hurt. But if something happens, and as long as I don't get hurt, have at it. I can take a joke. So
Perfect.
have it. Yeah, I was kidding about the meme thing. I'll be all right.
All right. Well, I was going to ask you about when you got drafted, but now I'm very curious about this pneumonia story. So let's hear that.
Yeah. So my off season was supposed to start beginning of this month on the 1st. I had been rehabbing an elbow majority of this year. So my rehab was supposed to end on the 30th. I was going to hang out. I was going to just pack up my place, and I was going to drive out to California on the 1st and then start my off season. But on the 17th, or really on the 12th of October, I woke up and I had hives all over my arms and all over my legs. Crazy, just insidious hives. And I had no idea why they happened, but I have a ton of allergies. So it wasn't that surprising, but I couldn't figure it out. I mean, I checked everything that I ate. I checked the laundry detergent at the field. I checked everything that I would thought of could cause these hives, and nothing. We couldn't figure it out. Anyways, they give me some medicine for the hives. I started taking this medicine, but then it was like a steroid pack, like a dose pack. So I started not really being able to sleep and kind of amped up at night. I mean, it was just wild because I was not sleeping well. So then at the field the next day, I would be kind of tired and groggy and just kind of worn down. So I was like, you know what? I think it's because I'm not sleeping well. No, yeah, it's pretty normal with this dose pack. You don't sleep too well. Well, I ended up throwing a bullpen on the 16th, and I wake and I'm so tired. I go home, eat lunch, and then I wake up 5 hours later from a nap, like just to take a 5-hour nap. I'm exhausted. And I wake up and I'm like, what just happened? And I'm laying there. I'm like, well, it's dinner time. I'm not really hungry. That was kind of concerning. I'm like, all right, well, you know what? Let me see if I can eat something and then go back to sleep. So I ended up going back to sleep, woke up Saturday morning with a 103.5 fever. So I just called in. I was like, hey, this is what I got. We're getting tested for COVID twice a week at this point. So that's not on the forefront of my mind. I mean, I wasn't going nowhere. Just I woke up with the name 103.5. So they're like, okay, well, hey, just drink fluids, rest. You're getting tested on Monday. Come in and get tested on Monday, but hopefully you feel better by then. Just take Tylenol for the fever. And nothing was helping. I wasn't hungry. I couldn't eat. The only thing I ate for 4 days was Tylenol.
What?
Yeah. So I never got hungry. So, and we still at this point don't know what it was. So Monday going and get tested. My test comes back negative. Tuesday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah. Tuesday, I wake up with a 103.5. Same thing. At this point though, I can't get down the stairs. I'm walking down the stairs. My legs are shaking. I'm weak. I mean,
they didn't send you to the hospital or anything?
So hold on. So Wednesday morning, I wake up, and granted, think about this. The only thing in my apartment, I really didn't have that many groceries. So because I was eating meals at the field, and I wasn't hungry, so I wasn't going to the grocery store and getting anything recently. And the only thing I had to drink was water. So I was just been drinking water only. Well, I depleted my electrolytes and my minerals and all that stuff so much that on Wednesday morning I woke up, was so dehydrated, they thought my kidneys weren't functioning. So they called in and helped me get set up at the ER close to where I was living. And so I could get there. All I had to do was get there. And when I tell you, driving 7 minutes was one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life. I was so sick. I got there. They IV'd me to hook up some bags. So they IV'd me. They stuck me for a blood test to check my kidneys. And this is all within 10 minutes. IV stuck me for the kidney test, both of which felt like sandpaper going in because I'm so dehydrated. And then boom, double COVID up the nose.
COVID tests are no joke. Like, I legit cry after them.
Yeah, she was awesome though. She told me, she goes, hey, listen, like, we got to give you the up the nose COVID test. And I was like, oh, dang. I was like, you didn't tell me that. And she goes, we got to do both nostrils. And I was like, oh, dang. And then she was like, and it's a 10 count. I was like, oh, dang. And then she was like, but I count fast. I was like, okay. And so she did. We went up there. She was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was like, cool. And then she came out. She goes, I got to go to the other nostril. I was like, oh, dang. So she did it, bam, comes out, and she goes, I am so sorry. And I mean, there's 3 nurses, and they're all doing different stuff. And she just looks at me, she goes, I am so sorry. You have to be so uncomfortable right now. I was like, that was the most uncomfortable 10 minutes of my life. But no COVID. My kidneys were good. And then so they come and do a chest x-ray. They find the culprit, some stuff in my lungs. So they were like, hey, hives, fever, lungs, it screams pneumonia or some kind of pneumonia. We're going to give you some we're going to give you antibiotics. Keep taking Tylenol. Hopefully you start feeling better soon. And hopefully if you start feeling better soon, like hopefully you can start eating. So I was like, okay, cool. We're rolling then. But then I got to the field on the following Monday and realized I'd lost 20 pounds in 10 days. Yeah, my body, I didn't eat anything. So my body was just eating itself. Because I never got hungry. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my legs were tiny. I mean, still are. It's about 223. I've gained like 3 pounds since then. It's been tough. But I feel good.
Or what'd you say?
I said I feel much better now.
Which is that's nice. Good. That makes one of us. But yeah. I'm going to sound like a creeper for asking this, but so everybody knows I lived in North Scottsdale for 20 years. But did you go to the Shea Hospital? Is that where you were?
No, I went Scottsdale Osborne, maybe.
Okay, gotcha. Because when I, freshman year of high school, like literally missed the first week, I had pneumonia, and I also woke up with hives everywhere. And I can sympathize because it is the nastiest, most painful thing.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I've never been that sick, and I would never wish that upon my worst enemy. I don't care what you do to me. I will not try and put pneumonia on your slate. I won't do it. I just won't. I can't do that and live with a clear heart. I can't. It was unbelievable. Yeah, but we're past that.
At least you're feeling better.
Oh yeah, much better. And hopefully you start feeling better soon. Gosh.
Thank you. Yeah, fingers crossed. All right, now back to baseball. Just because I was too busy caring about your health. But in 2016, you're drafted in the 3rd round by the Diamondbacks. I always love hearing these stories. What was it like when you got the call that you had been drafted? Like, did you kind of know it was going to be the Diamondbacks? I have no idea how that all works.
Yeah, so my mom wanted to have a draft party for day 1. So that would have been the first 2 rounds, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not I do love parties. But parties in my honor for something that I can't control, like something like this might happen. Ooh, that scares me. You hear about stories all the time. So I was kind of like, I mean, we can invite some of my closest friends over, like college buddies, and we'll invite them over and just hang out at the apartment and do that. And so we did. My name didn't get called on day 1, so everybody's kind of like, ooh, you know. And granted, like, I was kind of just hoping my name was called. I didn't really. It's not like oh yeah, you're for sure gonna be called on day 1, and it wasn't, you know. So I kind of was like, oh dang. It was kind of just like a little pride thing. And then my buddy goes, so what you want, like what happens now? And I said, I'm gonna change my shirt. We're going to the bar. We were 21. I was like, let's go to the bar. Like, let's go hang out. So we were getting hung out. And so next thing you know, the following morning, I wake up to a phone call. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning. And it's the area scout for the Diamondbacks calling me. And so I roll over. I see it's Rusty, and I roll over. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He goes, did I just wake you up? And I was like, no, sir. No, sir. He goes, okay. All right. And Rusty's kind of you just gotta know Rusty. He's like, that wake you up? And he was kind of like, yo, what are you doing? You like, today's the day you're gonna be drafted, and you're just. I was like, no, I'm up. And he goes, all right, well, hey, from what I understand, we're taking you with our first pick for this. Are you cool with that? I was like, heck yeah, I'm cool with that. He said, all right, so look it out. He said, you're going to be picked for number 1. I said, cool. So I didn't tell my mom about that. I told my dad, And I told him to keep it for my mom. So that was kind of okay, I'm going to be taken at this time, this pick. So I go over to my parents' apartment. They had just moved into an apartment downtown Houston. And so I just kind of went over there after I got situated, and we were just hanging out. And then once the draft started, it was online for day 2. So we were kind of just sitting in their bed watching it on. I think we had no, we were watching it on a laptop just like this, and we were watching on the laptop in the bed, and it was just me and my mom sitting there, and my dad was kind of coming and going because he knew when I was going to pick, and then the pick before me happens, and so my dad comes in and he's kind of just watching, and then Diamondbacks come up, and then they say our name, and they say our last name, and when my mom heard our name, she just like screamed, and she was so surprised. She had no idea, and it felt really good to hear our last name associated with the event, and then because one of us was still surprised, it felt all the same, so it was just like that excitement is what I didn't necessarily need, but I still got it. Like, to see how excited she was, I can tell people about it, and then people realize like, okay, yeah, I had the same in me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it was super cool. It's unbelievable. I ended up getting called by our scouting director. I get called by scouting director, and yeah, and then he told me there's some people are going to reach out, and that they were going to reach out with my flight and stuff, and said, hey, your flight's going to be in, like, we'll see you in a couple of days. And I was like, couple of days? Okay, cool. I'm there. Well, I ended up missing my flight.
What?
And I ended up getting up out there the next day. Yeah, I missed my flight. It wasn't on me. I mean, we're past that now. I don't think we remember. Yeah, I missed my first flight to pro ball as a professional athlete. So that was a great first impression. I just did everything I could to make him forget it, and I think we worked out. Obviously,
well, hopefully they don't watch this episode and are like reliving it now.
Oh, well, we got new management, so it's hopefully they had no idea, and
there you go.
Yeah, I was just a young kid back then. Now we're rolling different.
Was it because of the same bar that you went to?
No. I'm not. I don't. We don't. Nah, that's not my issue.
All right.
No, it was. We had gone fishing, so I had gotten the email late, and then I got the email, but then I read the day wrong. It was supposed to be on Sunday, or maybe it was on Saturday, or it was on Saturday, and I thought it said Sunday, or it was Sunday, and I thought it said Monday or something. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But I just mixed up the days, and then I was like, "Oh, I missed my flight." And she goes, "It's all good. We'll just make another one." And then she goes, "Okay, hey, this is your flight." And I was like, "I won't miss it. I promise." I didn't.
There you go. And then we're gonna skip ahead to your major league debut, because I know I kind of witnessed it from an Aces front office staff point. I didn't even hear the full story until the communications or PR assistant got back, because we actually had meet the team that night. So Jake had to miss. I was like, what is going on? Like, where is Jake? So from your standpoint, because you obviously had all the good news, go ahead and tell everyone, because I know you were on your way here and then it just completely changed.
Yeah. So I drove my truck from the last day of spring training. So I drove my truck and I trailed the Wideners. So Taylor Widener's wife and their dog. 2-day trip. We stopped in Tonopah, stayed in a Honda hotel.
What?
Yeah,
Did you sleep at all?
We drank enough Bud Light to fall asleep. Yeah. We made it happen, but it was not fun. I did not have fun. I did not have fun. I don't want to do it again. I don't even like scary movies. I don't like haunted houses. So like when you tell me something is actually haunted or supposedly haunted, nah, I'm way out on that.
Yeah,
but
no way.
Yeah, and so that was one of the rare occurrences where I was like, okay, you know what? we're diving in. Give me a bud. We're gonna make this happen. But so it was a 2-day trip for us up to Reno. We get to Reno, and I didn't have my apartment yet, but the Widens had their apartment, so we kind of go and help them move them in. Joey Crable and Taylor Clark and all those guys are already there. So we go over there, we hang out for a little bit, eat some pizza, and then I take my tail over to the Silver Legacy, move it because I'm gonna stay there for a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sitting in the Silver Legacy, and I'm like, well, I just put my luggage up in the room. I don't even unpack nothing. And then I just go down to the casino.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got a couple hours to kill, whatever, before I don't know what to do. I'm not hungry right now, nothing. And I was like, well, when in Reno, you know? So I just go play blackjack. So I take out, I don't know, $100 or something, and I'm just playing blackjack. I'm trying to play conservatively. I'm losing some money here and there, whatever. And then I get a phone call. So I get a phone call from Mike Bell, our farm director, and he's like, hey, I'm not trying to freak you out, but where are you? And I'm like, well, I'm in Reno. And he goes, okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to freak you out, but you see what's happening with our big league team. They're kind of getting crushed pitching wise. Just need to know where everybody is. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in Reno. All right. So he hangs up. I go back to playing blackjack. So I'm sitting there, just playing blackjack. I mean, I don't know anybody. I'm not really talking to anybody. And at this point, I might be down $25 in general, in total. And I get another phone call probably 15 minutes later. And it's Mike Bell again. So I step away from the table. This time I'm kind of freaking out. And he goes, okay, so you're most likely going to get called up. This, that, the other. He goes, you can't tell anybody, but obviously tell your parents, tell your family, but nobody can say anything because it's not official until the Diamondbacks tweet it. I was like, don't worry, I'm not telling nobody. But he's like, your flight's at 9, or no, your flight's at 6, or in a couple hours. Like, the flight was literally like in like 2.5 hours. He's like, don't miss that flight. I said, I ain't missing that flight, big fella. Mike, we're good. Don't worry about me. I'm not missing that flight. So I hang up the phone right after he told me not to tell anybody, you know? And naturally, I call my dad. Mm-hmm. I tried to call my dad, and it's like the one time I call him, he don't answer the phone. He don't have it on.
Of course.
So, yeah, I'm calling him, freaking out. I'm like, oh, because the thing is, like, when I found out, I had to color out. I was like, hey, can I go? The dealer was kind of taking his time. I was like, sir, I really got to go. And I just said, you know what? It's yours. I gave him $75. I was like, it's a tip. I'm out.
Oh my gosh.
What? And I was like, I can't explain. And I just left. And so I go to the lobby, and I call my dad, doesn't answer. Go to call. And then I'm like, who do I call now? And I'm like, what the heck? And I finally take a deep breath. I'm like, call your mom, you dummy. I'm like, boom. So I plan it out. I calm down a little bit. Mm-hmm. I go, okay, I'm going to call my mom. I'm going to say, hey, Mom, get Dad. Got to tell you something. That's how it's supposed to go. Mom, hey, Mom, get Dad. Got to tell you something. When I say, my mom answered the phone and said, hey, buddy. And I lost it. Mama, get Dad. You got to get Dad. Hurry, get Dad. She starts freaking out. Stop. What's wrong? Baby, what's wrong? Oh, my gosh. Oh, John, get over here. Something's wrong. And then my dad runs over, and she's trying to put me on speakerphone, but she's putting me on and taking me off and putting me on. She's just jamming the speakerphone button.
Aww.
And my dad, you can hear it. My dad takes the phone. He goes, puts me on speaker and says, calm down. What is going on? Mm-hmm. And I calmed down. I was like, your son's a big leaguer. And then everybody freaked out again. And you could just hear my parents jumping up and down. Like, you could hear them jumping all the way in Houston. It was awesome. So I explained it to him. I said, hey, I'm gonna be up and active tomorrow. Probably gonna be in relief. They need arms, so there's a potential I pitch tomorrow. My parents like, we'll figure it out. Just don't get on that flight. Don't miss it. I said, all right. So then I called my siblings. Well, first I was in the lobby of the Silver Legacy. You know, like I'm in the lobby right when you walk in, and you know you go check in and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I sit down for a second, and I just start bawling like a big old baby. But I'm in the lobby of a casino. So
But it's Reno. People have seen it before.
Exactly. So everybody's kind of just looking at me like, oh, bless his soul, he just lost it all. But like I'm bawling in front of like hundreds of people,
Oh.
and like hundreds of strangers. And the only thing that I want is a hug. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I couldn't hug my mom, couldn't hug my dad, nothing. I'm just crocodile tears, just losing it.
Oh.
Finally get myself together, go upstairs. I didn't even pack my bag, so I just grabbed my bag. But I called my sister and told her, and she's just, no effing way. Are you kidding me? No effing way. And I was just like, heck yeah. And so that was awesome. And then called my brother, and he was just like, you for real? I was like, yeah, Dev. I was like, I'm going to San Diego tonight. Mom and dad are getting a flight. Like, this is it. And he was just like silent, just speechless. And then I called my cousins, FaceTime my cousins and my uncle and aunt, and because they play baseball. So I was like, I got to let them know. And I don't know, it was a cool moment there. But yeah, it was nuts. Like I had to leave my truck. I had to drive. I didn't have anywhere to go. So I went to the field. I took some clothes. I showered and changed in the locker room.
You were there? I totally did not even see you that day.
Yeah. CJ came and got me, snuck me down. I showered, changed. I went up. I grabbed a duffel bag. I put a pair of jeans. I put I don't know. I grabbed enough clothes for 3 days. A duffel bag, my backpack, and a blazer. And I just went to the airport. I had one pair of shoes, some it was Cole Haans, and I had to buy shoes. I had to buy shoes when I got to oh snap, what'd I do? I had to buy shoes when I got to Scottsdale. I bought Converse. Yeah, I had to buy clothes. Converse. I bought a Dragon Ball Z long sleeve t-shirt and some Lululemon pants. And that was the first thing I bought in the show.
At Fashion Square? Is that where you bought?
I bought where did I buy these shoes? Yeah, the pants and the shoes were from Fashion Square. The shirt was the Urban Outfitters downtown, right by in City Center. Is that Cityscape? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, right by the field. Yep. I just went in there and I needed a t-shirt bad because I didn't have any. I messed up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because you were with the Big League Club for a little while, right?
Through opening weekend. So San Diego, and then we went home, and then that's when I came back to Reno.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember it was a huge deal when you came back. You were all over the marketing stuff. People were pumped. Obviously, I'm sure you weren't pumped to be back in Reno, but people were really excited to have you. But what you did not tell everyone in your story is the absolute chaos that happened leading up to the game time.
Yeah. So my first day, so I get to San Diego the night, and then the next day, I can't go to the field until I go to the field at noon, and I'm sitting there. And what I didn't know is that the truck with the equipment that we had put on in spring training, it had broken down right after it left the field. So it was still in Phoenix. It was running late, real late. And which meant my bag wasn't going to be easily accessible, and it wasn't going to, you can just get it and then overnight it safely. So I'm at Petco, running around, borrowing shoes. I slipped, Archie let me borrow a pair of shoes. They obviously had shorts and shirts and stuff for me. But yeah, they flew Was he an intern at the time?
He
Or
was
was he just
Jackson's assistant. Like he was a
an assistant?
seasonal. So
And from what I understand, so like I didn't have my bag, which had my eyes in like my glasses, which I need those. I was wearing contacts at up to that point. It had my cleats, which are unique because I wear size 15 cleats, and nobody on our team wore that big a shoe. And my gloves. I mean, it was just everything, all of my essentials were in that bag. And then I didn't know this at the time, but yeah, they were Jake. They pretty much like Jackson goes to Jake and he's like, "Hey, I need your driver's license. I need a picture of your driver's. I need your driver's license." He's like, "Why?" He goes, you're gonna take this bag and you're gonna fly to San Diego with it, but you gotta check. Like, you have to take this bag with you, and you have to personally hand deliver it to Petco Park. And I think his family's from San Diego, so he's like, just spend the night and then you'll fly back. And it was like his first week on the job, right?
Yep, brand new.
Which was sick because so it was his first week on the job. Technically, it's like my first day on the job.
Yeah.
And I'm imagine me sitting in the weight room. I'm sitting in the weight room, like the locker room weight room at Petco, Gerard Dyson and Alex Avila and like all these like sick vets, Adam Jones. And then word comes down on how my bag is getting to me because I don't have my bag. And they're like, how much trouble they're going through and what they're doing to make sure my bag gets to me. And Dyson goes, man, I'll tell you, boy, that they would have never done none of that for me. He goes, "You must be big time, dog. You must be pretty nice." All right,
that's a
cool.
solid impression.
Yeah,
that's actually really good.
It was sick. He goes, "Man, I ain't never seen this before." He goes, "All right." I was like, sick. I feel special. And the bag got to me 15 minutes before game time. So I was able to get my own cleats and my glasses and my glove and pretty much had enough time to get out there for the I got to warm up and everything, but then I got to go out there for the anthem, and just be part of the day. It was just wild, and like my bag getting there was just like, whew. I was like, if the first time I pitched in the big leagues happens to be somebody else's glove, I'm doing it in contacts, which I haven't pitched in contacts since my junior year in high school. And then in somebody's small cleats or like some cleats I had to get from Dick's Sporting Goods, that would have been a sick story, but like that would have just been, it's like not how you draw it up. So
yeah,
thank you to Jake for getting me that dang bag. That was, it was awesome.
The MVP. And I can't remember, you pitched that game, right?
Right. Yeah.
So what was that like? Because it sounded like your parents were going to be there. Did they actually make it to the game? And
yeah, so they made it. I got to see them sorry, I cut you off, but I got to see them after BP. They had made it. They landed at like 1:15, so they were there for BP, and I got to go see them and talk to them and hug them and stuff. And then I ended up pitching that night. Merrill Kelly made his big league debut and pitched six, gave up 3, like had a quality start. Mm-hmm. Our team went crazy. I think we put up 10 runs or something like that. So like after the 6th inning, they called down and said, "Hey, we're gonna let the kid get it. Like, tell Dupe it's all him, and he's gonna ride it out." And it was like, "Woo, okay." So I started warming up, and like I'm. Let me tell you, before that, I'm warming up, or I'm sitting down there and I'm freaking out because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And and our bullpen coach is kind of like, "Hey, calm down." He goes, "I'll tell you, I'll kind of guide you. I'll let you know if you need to start moving around and stuff." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." And guys are just doing their best to just talk to me, keep me talking, rather than sit there and just kind of like take it all in, So I was sitting here having conversations with Greg Holland and Archie and Chafin and Yon Lopez and everybody. But at the same time, while I'm getting kind of like slowly taking it all in and enjoying it. But if I wasn't talking, I kind of would have just been in my own head, like thinking like, "Oh, this is cool. Like, Adam Jones just hit a homer," and
Like, oh, that's so cool.
Like, oh, that's sick. Like, that was a big league homer. Wait a minute, I'm wearing big league pants. And whoa. Like it could have just got real big. And uh, it was awesome. They did an unbelievable job keeping me kind of where I needed to be. And then once I started warming up, like everything was high. I just could not throw a fastball anywhere near the zone. And I was just throwing fastballs up. And I threw about 30 pitches. I threw so many pitches. Fett, our bullpen coach, stepped in front of me and would not let me throw. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love Fetters, though. He's the man.
He's the man. And he was just looking at me. He was like, it's like he wanted to grab me by the shoulders and go, breathe. Because that's pretty much what he did. And then they got the third out going in the seventh, or after this in the seventh inning. And Fett looked at me and he said, hey, man, go have fun. And like literally, I walked down the stairs. I'm so nervous. Walk down these concrete stairs on my big old 15s. They're bigger than the steps. I finally get to the bottom. I don't fall. I take 5 steps jogging out to make sure I don't fall out of center field. And then I look up and it was just the most beautiful thing ever. Like, go free, like run and go play and enjoy it. And it was symmetrical. It was sunset in San Diego. Oh,
Petco's the most beautiful ballpark ever. Just the whole thing about it is just amazing.
Unbelievable. Yep. I would never trade that memory for anything.
That's so cool. And like I said, we were very happy to have you. I know it was a crazy season for you, and I don't want to get too like political or negative, obviously, for the reasons that we both know, but you were one of the guys that the D-backs always called on when they needed another arm. So you were up and down a lot. For you as a professional, I know we're going way long on time, so I apologize, but for you as a professional, like, how did you kind of just adapt to Reno is really high altitude. There's a lot like physically, but then just to be right on your game when you get called up by the Diamondbacks.
It's tough. And I actually personally really don't think I did a great job of it. Because like I was having so much fun, on both ends. And you kind of just like when you get called up for the first time, it's like, oh wow, this is amazing. And then you get sent down and it's like, all I want is I'll do whatever I have to do to get back up. Mm-hmm. And so when you get up again, it's like, yes, then the excitement, and it's not necessarily that excitement's back, but it's just you're more excited. Like you love playing ball wherever you're at, but then it's like, whoa, the lights are brighter, Mm-hmm. But then eventually you kind of just realize like, wait a minute, it's the same game. Like I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to do a job. Mm-hmm. And especially when you're the guy that's going up and down, they're calling you up and down, not to reward. It wasn't to reward me for anything. It was, hey, we need you to do a job. I was a hitman. I was a hitman. They were like, hey, yeah, you're in Reno to start and we want to build you up and all that. But like, you know what? We need a dude to come here and clean up a mess, or we need a dude to come up here and give us some length. And you know what? You're the number we call. So mm-hmm. After a while, it was like, you know what? Okay, they call me. All right, let me go get my boots on. It's kind of, that's the mentality that you kind of adopt, or try to, or need to, and it definitely made going up and down easier, realizing, okay, hey, I'm going up there for a reason. And then when you got sent back down, you realize like it's nothing personal. Mm-hmm. I did my job. Now I got to go do my part again. It's like I'm building up to be a starter. Let's go do that. It's another job. Go figure it out.
Yeah, that's a really good mentality to have. And just speaking to your character, I'm going to brag about you for a second. For everybody listening, Jon was so amazing. Like a memory that always sticks out to me, even though I was just watching from the top of the stairs, was Camp Lots of Fun. Seeing you interact with the special needs kids and adults and playing the game with them. Like, I know that was in the middle of you going up and down, but for you to still make the time and to always be like, you always gave the baseball buddies pieces of gum, and you were just the most amazing person. So even if you were struggling with it in the beginning, just know that nobody could tell, and you were definitely a favorite of everyone. So
I appreciate it. But like, at the same time, you also realize that no matter where you are, if it's, or if, even if it's somewhere where you want to be, you know, like I enjoyed my time in Reno. You know, like I enjoyed the organization was great. Um, I liked our ballpark. I liked the fans, you know, but like, I'm not going to lie. Like sometimes my head was definitely in Phoenix.
mhm.
And, but there was a sign going out to the field that says, today's somebody's first day or first ball game or somebody's first day at Greater Nevada. And it was like
Hmm.
a quick reminder that like, hey, this is our job, but somebody literally paid money to come see us or hang, like at the chance to like come hang out with us. And like, I remember being in a, it was a big league game in Houston. Like I remember being 8 years old in the stands during BP, and like somebody who I'll never be able to tell you who it was a pitcher who was probably in my exact same situation then in 2002, turned around, fielded a ground ball from BP, from whoever hit it. It could have been a dang another pitcher. Turned around and flipped it up to me, and it made my day. It made my week.
Mhm.
You know, so I mean, it's just you never know how you can influence somebody. Just, I mean, it's unbelievable to me that kids see us as superheroes sometimes, or you know, and it's like, well, you know what? If you see somebody as a superhero and they give you a piece of gum and they make you do a dance and they do a dance with you, you know, it's like,
Mhm.
what does that cost me? But at the same time, what does that give somebody else? You know, like that's a memory. That's all. That's all I ever wanted to do, and it makes it a lot more fun. Like if I just show up and I got to go to straight to the national anthem, and then watching 3.5 hour game in the cold, it's like nah. Like let's play catch
Oh
with
man,
8-year-old first.
4-hour games
Sometimes,
sometimes.
yeah.
The 2 or 3 times I had to go up in Mr. Baseball, it was like the longest half innings, I swear, of the whole season. And I'm just like hating my life. They do like 3 pitching changes. I'm like, Crony, can you just like let me go up in this inflated baseball at the 7th inning stretch? But well, we were very glad to have you in Reno. And just final question. I don't even know if it's really a single question, but 2020, it has been crazy. Obviously, it wasn't the season that you or anybody wanted, but especially you not really being able to play it all. But you were definitely making your mark on this year. And with the whole Black Lives Matter movement and the Players Alliance, you have been so great and somebody that I've really looked to, as you know, for being a voice for change and just being somebody that kids can look to and be like, he's standing up for what he believes and he's telling his story. He's being vulnerable. So if you could take any positive from that and apply it to 2020, like what was the best thing that came out of just you and all the other players taking a stand and using your platforms?
I just think the fact that we could, you know, or not even we as Black baseball players, but young guys. I mean, shoot, I got less than 40 innings to my spikes aren't even dirty, and the fact that there was an outpouring of support um, for me sharing my story, you know, and then you got like I had veterans that reached out to me after that and were like, yeah, man, I experienced that stuff too. And like, I went through it, and you can almost feel a weight off of their back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and that's not to say that like what I did changed anything, but there was a whole bunch of that going on amongst different platforms at different times in different ways. Um, just to be able, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't there this season and there were really no fans, but I imagine going forward, there are going to be a lot of little kids, a lot of little Black kids that are going to like just be more comfortable with being a baseball player. Like growing up, I was told baseball was a white boy sport. And I was told this, that, and the other. And it made me feel a certain way. And granted, I love baseball and it didn't stop me, obviously, but it didn't have to be like that. You know, like there's just so many different things that could happen now. You know, I mean, shoot, both rookies of the year in both leagues were both young black guys. You know, it's like, that's amazing. And I don't think that has anything to do with what happened this year, the conversations we had. It just goes to show that, like, no, it's definitely possible. You know, it's just, we're here, we're playing ball, and we have a story to share. You know, it's no different than the Latin guys. It's no different than multicultural guys. It's just, you know what? We got a chance to share our story. We got a chance to kind of allow guys to go ahead and affect change. You know, like this is Tony Kemp. This is Tony Kemp's shirt, the +1.
Oh,
you know, this was just coincidence, you know, but like guys are like, there's so many guys doing so many good things now, and camps are blowing up. And I mean, it's just unbelievable to see that one guy's voice or 3 guys' voice or 50 guys' voice in solidarity, and then the league to jump behind guys, you know, and say, you know what, we see you, we hear you, and we want to amplify that, allow this to be a thing. Unbelievable. I mean, I actually never even contemplated that it was possible. I just always assumed it was going to be the way it was. But, you know, like, the world is changing, and it's cool to kind of be a part of that. However small a part or however big a part, it's cool all the same.
Well, I thank you for sharing your story. I can imagine it wasn't the most comfortable thing in the world, just because I know, especially on social media, people are terrible. Like, people always say what they want. They'll hide behind the screen. But for you to just put yourself out there for the better of the community, I think, like you said, you really helped a lot of kids that I think now will be more comfortable. And there's somebody that, you're somebody that they can look up to. So appreciate you for that. And I feel bad. I've used over an hour of your time. This was supposed to be a 30-minute interview.
It's supposed to be at 2:30, so.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And hopefully I do not see you in Reno, but I'll be rooting for you wherever you are.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me.